Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. This episode was okay. It wasn't really great. Actually, tell you the truth, a lot really didn't happen in this episode, to be honest. Um, Taggart decided to change his plea, which I don't know why it took him so long to do that when pretty much everyone was convincing him to change his plea to not guilty. Um, the last minute when he's getting escorted. And by the way, this episode, this scene, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of vexed me a little bit because the security officer or the not the security officer, the court officer is escorting Taggart into the courtroom, and Trina, runs up or whatever. She's about to give Taggart a hug or whatever. And I listen. I get it, protocol, whatever. Like you can't really be hugging the prisoner or whatever. Like yada yada yada. Like I get protocol, but the way he was in there talking to us, like, yo, bro, why don't you like tone that down just a couple of notches? Like you can tone it down a little bit. Um, so she didn't hug him or whatever, but she was like, change your play or whatever. And while she was trying to get like just a small amount of time, just sit there and talk to him, he's being all like, "Whoa, he's got to go." This and that. And it's like very harsh and just like I'm like, damn, he's not. He didn't kill anyone. Like the dude faked his death. You might want to just like I don't know something about that whole scene, especially the way he was sitting there acting like he knew that was like his daughter. You know. Like he could have toned it down a little bit, but like he's not there pushing him and like practically manhandling him, practically throwing him into the courtroom. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. I'm really not feeling that. So anyway, he gets in there and he changes his plea to not guilty. And after some back and forth, the judge accepts it. The not plead to guilty. I mean, the not him pleading not guilty. But there's a condition. So Jordan decided to step up, and take responsibility for Taggart. So after everything is over, you got Cam, you got Trina, you got Jocelyn, Portia there, and everyone's all happy and stuff like that. About him changing his plea and him being free or whatever. But here's the thing. Pretty much Taggart was like, well, there's conditions. And when Trina or somebody was like, well, what's the condition? Jordan was like, yeah, he has to stay with me. Now, Portia had that look like, I'm sorry, what? And I'm sitting there thinking, Portia, you have literally no right whatsoever to even look at her sideways. Because if it wasn't for Jordan, and we all know how I feel about Jordan to an extent, if it wasn't for Jordan, first of all, well, he would have been screwed over a couple of times. But just in this scenario, like they probably would have wound up throwing him back in jail a little bit. Like he wasn't just going to go on bail or anything like that. So if it wasn't for her, you know, he would be probably sitting in a cell. On top of that, what are you sitting there getting all possessive? How long have you been sitting there hanging out, spending time with Curtis and stuff like that? By the way, on top of that, you cheated on the man, but you have the audacity. Uh, Portia. We all know how I feel about Portia. But this chick is definitely out of line just looking at Jordan sideways for that. Also, earlier, Cam was snitcher trying to get a job at Curtis's new place, and he wasn't giving up because he wanted to thank him for the good advice that he gave him as far as turning his negative energy into positive energy. But then he leaves to go, support Trina, which they didn't tell him because they didn't want to stress him out. So Curtis and TJ are hanging out. He's like moving furniture around or whatever. And here's the thing: TJ asks Curtis a very important question. What do you want to do? You're already separated, And TJ was like, my mom feels like she's in limbo. Now, from the scenes that we done seen with Curtis, constantly Smith there talking about Jordan and stuff like that, like the way he talks about Jordan, it's like, bro, just sign the divorce papers already. Because I, I feel like in his eyes, he's already just like checked out, which is fine. No one, a lot of people are not going to sit there and blame you for that. Just make a decision. See, this was kind of like my issue before with Curtis, as far as like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna separate? Is he gonna leave? Like, what is your decision? And now that he's separated for a little bit, it's like, TJ was like, she's still probably holding out hope, and you need to be honest. And that's the one thing that has been just blowing me about Curtis is just his non-committal to like just making a damn decision. And he has, because I guess TJ graduated medical school, whatever, and he wants to sit there and find a proper seating charts and stuff like that, and making sure that they're good and they're going to be copacetic. Um, but he has straight up, and he does not give a response. Like, do you want to be with her? Do you not? Like, make a decision. And he's just like, so that really told us nothing. Awesome. So let's talk about Jason and Carly. Pretty much, Carly came to Jason with the plan of, giving back Florence in exchange for Jason's freedom. But Jason's like, no, we're not doing that. Because at this point, if we let Florence go, he's going to rain hellfire on everyone. So at this point, it's better to keep him. Also, see, I feel like a lot of people sometimes in that town really underestimate how smart Jason is. Because pretty much he was like, Gladys, like, Cyrus could have picked anyone. The fact that he picked Gladys means that she's valuable. Basically, they're saying that Gladys saw who killed Franco. Saw Peter do it. Or at least, throwing a gun down the chute or whatever. So, Jason's like, the best chance that we have is, again, finding a way to get to Peter as far as like proving Jason's innocent, and probably working the Gladys angle. But pretty much under no circumstances, Jason was like, no, we are not giving back Florence at this point. We're just not doing it. Carly's just kind of stuck in the middle because Carly's like, I'm not going to let you ride. But, you make a good point. So, like, what do I do? What do I do? For some odd reason, my damn DVR did not record it, and I had to sit there and watch it on YouTube, which is so fun. So if I missed some stuff, I apologize. I don't think I really missed too much, but you never know. Now, on the other side of town, just thinking about which one to go first. So, Martin and Laura are there hanging out, celebrating his birthday, his belated birthday at this point, and Cyrus walks up. Cyrus like, I want to sit down and kind of hang out and, just kind of be all, kumbaya, one big family. And then Cyrus starts throwing Martin under the bus with the whole helping Julian Jerome, when he was fleeing, when he was fleeing town or whatever. Talked about how Martin knew about that and he pretty much helped him do it. And at the time, Martin was like, listen, I didn't know that he blew up the floating rib. I knew he did some dirt and Sonny was coming after him, but I didn't know the full extent. But with that being said, that was pretty much all it needed to take for Laura to be like, yeah, this whole brother-sister bonding thing, yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe we're going too a little too fast. So she pulls the brakes and she's like, we're not doing anything for Easter. And then she just kind of walks off. And to some extent, I know I'm probably going to get a little smoke for this, but I feel bad for Martin because he really seemed like he was enjoying his time with Laura. But of course, because he knew, like, he got a chance to talk to the mother, he didn't say anything to Cyrus, and Cyrus is out of the loop as far as like, yo, you know where mom is at? Like, what's going on? And the fact that he felt like that was more than enough to kind of just rain on his parade, because that's apparently what Cyrus does. And it's funny too, because Cyrus is sitting there. He's like, see, we all got a little darkness in us. I'm just more honest about it. And it's true. Listen, you could sit there and say every dirty, nasty, bad thing about Cyrus, and to some extent about Carly. And this is one of the things I like about Carly, is that Carly owns her truths. Like, she knows that she's done some bad stuff, and she doesn't sit there and hide it. She doesn't sit there and try to sweep it under the rug. She knows exactly who she is and what she's done, and she accepts it. Um, and that's the same thing with Cyrus. I was like, yo, I know exactly what kind of person I am. And I still sleep like a baby. So that's pretty much at least my take on it. But at that point, yeah, he leaves, and then Laura decides to bounce, and, well, Martin just has a crappy belated birthday, so there's that. Now, Anna did talk to Finn, which was awkward as hell. I think it was a stuffed animal that Violet was missing that Anna found, and now they're gonna kind of work out the details about how to, you know, give it to each other or whatever. Like, exchange it without actually meeting up or coming over each other's place or whatever. Cause, yep, that's the point we're at. And I'm not gonna lie. Again, I do not feel sorry for Anna. Now, one other thing before I kind of close up this review. If somebody asks me, what do I think about and Willow and Michael, did they make like a cute couple, or did they have good chemistry or whatever? Now, I've never really been, when I watch these shows, never really look at the chemistry or who's a good fit or whatever. And I did sit there and say it was Michael and Willow to an extent, because they started off as friends, They started off as friends, and they always just had that honesty about, honesty with each other. No matter what's going on, they'll be honest with each other, and they've always remained good friends, like, no matter what. And I always believe that a really good um, relationship is built on a good foundation of friendship. So that's why I gave that answer. And I wrote it down in the comment section, but I kind of want to just address it. So, after their little awkwardness, Anna summons Obrecht, and pretty much they talk about Kirk, and pretty much Anna's like, so did you program Dante to be doing all that bad stuff? Because you were with Dr. Kirk, you knew his methods, and he's not here anymore, and yet Dante is just kind of running rampant. So who kind of wound him up? And of course, Obrecht denies. There's no proof, but pretty much Anna's like, yo, listen, I'm putting you on notice. So anything he does moving forward after whatever, after Kevin unscrambled his brain, pretty much, yeah, I'm coming after you. That's not what she says, but that's pretty much the veiled threat. They also talk about Peter. They talk about Peter because pretty much Anna's like, yeah, I think Franco killed, I think Peter killed Franco. So, they go about it, and at this point, which now I'm sitting there thinking, like, why did she actually say that? Because the thing is, right after that, Obrecht's like, so I guess I'm just gonna take matters to my own hands. And at this point, Anna's like, no, we're gonna let the law work its course. We're not doing vigilante justice. And at this point, Obrecht is like, well, you know what? Listen, whatever happens, happens. And then she kind of just walks off, and I'm like, why did you tell her that? This woman could be unhinged on a good day, and you want to sit there and tell Obrecht that the one friend that she had in town was killed by a guy that she can't stand. And you think she's just gonna sit there and be like, oh, you know what, Anna, you're right. Yeah, silly me, always just taking the law into my own hands. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it just work its course. No! They also talk about Phase On a little bit and some other stuff, but it's not really too important. That's pretty much the gist of their conversation. Now, at that point, Obrecht goes to the hospital and Peter decides to poke the bear because apparently, well, Peter's just on a roll. First, Peter talks to Liz and talks about how he's sorry for what happened. Pretty much his goal is to goat Liz into, fully giving a convincing testimony that Jason killed Franco. That was his whole point of going there, And of course, Liz is already upset at the fact that, Peter tried to kill Franco once before. So she's already livid about that. Between that and just the article that an invader put out. And of course, Peter's trying to be, well, not trying to be, he's just being a slime ball by being like, so we want to interview you for, since you were an eyewitness towards, Jason killing Franco or whatever. Like you were there, so we want to interview you. At this point, Liz loses it. She's about to go straight after Peter. And Finn stops Liz from doing that, and after some back and forth, he leaves. And of course, once again, he has to sit there and brag about how, yeah, there's all this accusations against me, but there's no proof, and no one can do anything, and yada, 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 and just throws it in everyone's face. So he does that, and he leaves. And then he sees Obrecht, and he decides to poke the bear once again. So he starts goading her just because. And he talks about, oh, well, me and Max are going to be happy, and the kids aren't going to remember you as they're... I'm not even trying to pronounce what Peter said, but, well, pretty much, Obrecht pretty much threatened to kill him and just walked off. Now, it was really interesting because I don't know if Obrecht said this or if Finn said this, but pretty much one of them, I think it was Obrecht. Obrecht was like, listen, Valentine and Anna was the only people that really loved you, despite all the crap that you did, until you went too far with them. You don't have any more allies. You have nobody to sit there and protect you. So, whatever happens, happens. I think it was Anna that said that. Now, the two final scenes I want to sit there and talk about really quick is the scene between Cyrus and Jason. So, Cyrus pretty much comes to Jason's cell, the glow. It's like, oh, so you're in jail. So weird. And at this point, Cyrus is like, well, you're going to be out soon, so whatever. And, Jason's like, nope, we're not taking a deal. But I'll make sure I tell your mother that you said hi. And I was like, damn, Jason. you really went there. That's why I love Jason. But still, it's like, you really went there. I'll tell your mother you said hi. Wow. And I think the last scene is pretty much just Carly going to Anna to try to figure out some sort of way they can get Peter. Let me just double check something. I think that's about it. But if I missed something, please let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next video.